have one new voice message.
Hey, listen up. I've intercepted some data from the Metro PD. It sounds like they're stepping up their efforts and trying to make our lives even harder. Apparently, they're planning to introduce even more special units very soon. In the meantime, have a look at the documents I sent through and prepare for some tough times ahead. Oh, and one more thing. I'm patching in some tweaks to CrimeNet. Nothing major, but it should smooth out your progress a bit. Should go live on Thursday. Until then.
What is up, guys? Noli here, and welcome to Death Wish, the update for Payday 2, coming out on PC. I believe Thursday the 27th. All the information points to that. As you see here on the post-it note, Thursday the 27th. Today is obviously Tuesday the 25th, so not too long to wait. Before I get any further into this, can I just thank Noble Slayer for actually sending this to me. I was aware a patch was inbound. I do find these things out just slightly earlier, but I had no idea when exactly. I just have heard the news that this was coming. So thanks a lot to him for letting me know so I can make this video as promptly as is possible and get it out to you guys. What I'm basically going to do is read through all of these articles in full detail and see what we can work out from it. But just listen to Bane's voicemail, which first of all was extremely cool. It seems like on the face of it we're going to get some new enemy units, possibly higher intelligence enemy units, and also looking at some small changes to crime.net. Hopefully this is going to, as he said, smooth out the way things work, and probably the return of the offshore payday. That's just what I can presume at this point. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm basically going to start from left to right. You suspicious about this guy? And then because it's obviously so small I can barely read that text, I'm just going to zoom in the page. So, The Savior of Washington, D.C. February the 22nd, Washington, D.C. by Wally Jones. These mass robbers are not rock stars, they're petty criminals. These are the words of Jacob Faller, Vice President of Gensec Security Industries. Every civilized nation considers crimes like these a serious blow to both democracy and the safety of the citizen. And it is in every nation's interest to deal with these heinous crimes swiftly. Until Washington, D.C. lets us help them the way we know we can, these widespread attacks are destined to continue. Jacob Faller is not your ordinary executive. He rose from a humble start but now is the vice president of the biggest emerging security company in the US. Gensec, a name derived from General Security, aimed to provide security services for everything from the little house on the prairie to city in peril, when criminals hold the upper hand. The Washington, D.C. police force will continue to do everything within the law to fight and deal with this wave of robberies that have been haunting the city. But the fact remains that they are understaffed, under-equipped, and underprepared. Jacob states in regards to the current citywide crime wave, to us, the solution is simple. We have a history of collaboration with local police authorities and are now willing to help the citizens of Washington, D.C. to protect themselves. And here is our Jacob Faller. I do believe that's a T there. Very slight typo. Easily slips through. Many have voiced concern over Gensec and their very vocal, some say aggressive sales tactics. Critics deem the outspoken Faller a money-grabbing menace, but the opinions of our readers tell a different story. One commentator, Beetle Bumper _72, says Gensec is exactly what we need when our law enforcers can't protect us. I can't even go down to a local ATM without seeing a mass robber and his three jolly friends appear in the distance. What kind of life is that? And there is more that speaks of Gensec being a possible savior than a menace. We spoke to a former bank manager of the First World Bank, known for being one of the most effective banks in the country when it comes to armed robbery. First World Bank, is this real? Could we be seeing a return? Who knows? When they had Gensec, they were at an all-time low. 2 years later, things are starting to look up. Without the help of Gensec, I wouldn't be alive today, claims a manager of the First World Bank who wants to remain anonymous. I knew my life was going to change when I was attacked by criminals. Before that event and many others like it, as a bank manager, I was already impressed with the Gensec corporate security staff because of their dedication and loyal service. The question is, will the bank managers of Washington, D.C. let Gensec do the job? And, more importantly, can they afford not to? Are we going to see GenSec units? That certainly seems like a possibility. Now I've actually popped over to the right hand side for our next one. Let's zoom it in and read what seems like a pretty secret document. Crime.net Automated Communications Intercept. Trigger Makers Crime.net Mass Plan Cloakers Heavy Audio File MGTB 201402113 13.wav. Date 12th of the 2nd 2014. Time 11:12 EST. Unidentified male is the UM, unidentified female is the UF, unintelligible is UT, NFI is not further identified, LNU is last name unknown, italics is transcriber's comment, and ... is incomplete sentence. So here we have, it seems like 4 characters and some unknown characters talking. We've got Jeff Brown, Adam Lanier, Stuart Anderson, Frank Bernoulli, and Vanessa Jefferson. So, Jeff Brown says, overnight, these things need to run for a few weeks, months before, you see the effect, and don't care, don't give a shit. You said the cloakers would stop them. Now look, the numbers have tripled, not dropped. But look, and then it's unintelligible. Like we discussed at the unintelligible dinner, it's a process of... And then the sentence doesn't end. What is this, bitchmas? You had one job. You had one job. Fuck this. I'm going with plan B. I'm going with the heavy option. I'm sick and tired of these guys running circles around us. Frank, those units you've been training, I want those in play right now, you hear me? You make sure the new elite units are ready for next Thursday. You won't regret this. We'll show these mass fucks who's in charge of this town. Bernoulli, as advisor to the Commission for Ethical Law Enforcement, I have to say that using such heavy firepower will not only undermine ethics. After the cloakers last month, you must be kidding. Just get out there. I mean it. Leave. Okay? This meeting is over. Get out of here, is what he said then. So a dramatic reading of the Automated Communication Intercept. More evidence at a brand new heavy elite enemy. This is what I got on the new events coming soon. See if you can find any clues. Is this the new face of law enforcement? Let's zoom this one in as well. Leaked documents hint at new elite forces to be deployed in the immediate future in the DC metro area. That was from Tuesday, February the 25th. That was, of course, today. Face of the law, looking more like something out of a Hollywood production than the servant of law and order. The rumored new units appear to be wearing modified BDU suits. They carry heavier weapons than any law enforcement agency unit previously known. According to sources, according to sources, it's only a matter of time until these new units are on the streets, fighting crime, making life safer for the general public. Source WPD internal. So these BDU suits seem to be even heavier suits than Juggernauts. They have the sort of skull basher pattern on their masks. They look pretty incredible. Definitely looking at some sort of heavy, light machine gun wielding, possibly, enemies. That is going to mean they're probably low on mobility. So we have 2 more articles to read. On the left, we have the visual article. Let's give this a look first. Okay. How the new police force is better equipped to fight crime. With the premature release of the report on the recent crime wave and the inefficiency of the police... I'm going to actually zoom this in just slightly further. And the inefficiency of the police to deal with heavily organized crime, new measures are planned to be put in place by law enforcement agencies if the report is correct. It all adds up to a healthy boost for the long arm of the law. Here are some of the changes expected to be put in place by the end of the month. So, bigger squads. More teams are dispatched when responding, and each individual team is up to 50% more powerful. What does powerful mean? Does it mean they're just going to do more bullet damage? Obviously, bigger squads sounds pretty frightening. Better gear, state-of-the-art firearms, provides greater stopping power and high-tech equipment to increase precision. It looks like we're going to see enemies with gun attachments. That is certainly the JP weapon, I forget the name of it. And that looks like the one of the submachine gun secondaries. I forget the actual in-game names for them. It looks a bit like an MP5K, and that one looks like the G3, I believe it's called. No. I can't remember. It's it's one of the assault rifles within the game. State-of-the-art firearms, we've already gone through that. Now, fewer donuts, ballistic protection, high physical demands, and extensive field training make teams up to 60% more resilient. What does this mean? Is this straight up 60% damage reduction from our bullets? Part of me hopes not. I don't really want to see enemies that don't die. So, seems a little bit dangerous. Now, we're going to get more tactical, improved response teams will be dispatched in new, more effective combinations with focus on heavy firepower or swift takedown tactics. Shield units will flank heavier units. Taser or cloaker units will be deployed paired. As it is, the heavy team seems really scary. Basically, within the game, you get taser shielded, you're dead. I can only imagine what a Juggernaut shield is going to look like. We also have this takedown team, which is Cloaker Taser. Oh god. Anyway, sustained assaults. New high-spec units with unparalleled firepower and high-tech equipment will be deployed during high-risk emergencies to curb crime before it escalates to a standoff. What does this mean? Does it mean that the early assaults are going to be better? Does it mean that assaults are going to last longer? We have absolutely no idea. They're not really giving too much away. Last Men Standing. This is one of the few available images of new rapid response units, taken during a live fire exercise at the top secret location. The identities of the operators are kept secret, and everything about their mission objective is reminiscent of a classic, let's say, clandestine agency operation. It looks like the good old days of being a bad guy are finally coming to an end. These are camouflaged SWAT officers. These guys seemingly are ready for business. I assume they're going to get all these power-ups, and they just look straight up cooler. So let's actually zoom out now instead of sitting on 400%. And let's have a look at the last article. Oh, by the way, it says check out this info graphic I found on the say GWU server. Not sure how much of it is true though. So basically, some of this stuff could be a load of crap. I hope 60% bullet resistance is just propaganda, basically. Let's zoom this one in and have another read. Leak report: DC organized crime reaches record high. February the 25th, of course, today, Washington DC, by Martin Wernington. Last night, the Metro Area Police upcoming report on the recent crime wave that has plagued DC since late August was leaked to the press via anonymous sources working close with the Metro PD. The preliminary analysis of the report, which experts agree is in fact the genuine article, gives to hand that despite the emergency measures taken in mid-January, the addition of the paramilitary Cloaker unit, see info panel, the actual number of serious crimes committed in the DC area have multiplied in an alarming rate. Everyone wants to fight the Cloakers. Small bank offices and art galleries have been hit especially hard. Well-renowned criminologist consulting profiler to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and professional commenter, that's what it says, Professor George Villiet, shares outlook with the authors of the report. These are alarming reports indeed, and they could not have come at a worse time. Our first city has been hit by a veritable tsunami of organized crime, perhaps the worst in its entire history. Numerous criminal gangs are meeting up in countless criminal online networks where they scheme and plan their heists, and the police are seemingly powerless to act. Professor Villet's latest research into the crime network has shown that these new organizations have changed their mode of operations, possibly thanks to a mysterious figure known to the criminal underworld as Bane. Villet, they have grown more bold and more industrious because of the introduction of this most likely fictional character who've risen to the top of the criminal underworld and united them in their misguided cause. His role is very much that of a spider in the net. He should be the top priority for this report, and he is not mentioned once. Bane, man or myth? Well, we know he's real. Weekend section, page 13. Law enforcers have also seen I'd love to read that. Law enforcers have also seen an increased amount of activity where very heavy arms have been used. In addition to several military-issue assault rifles and explosives, the report mentions both the use of fragmentation grenades as well as light machine guns, something which has not appeared in crime statistics since 2011. Experts on the black market for illegal firearms are working on the assumption that this is an American operation based on and managed from US soil, and quite possibly linked to the PMCs or former military advisors with links to organized crime in South America and the Middle East. Villiers continues, the criminals have also, I think I've called him like 5 different things, the criminals have also started to form gangs of 4, using something called the Baines List. What is this? Well, it looks like what we're going to be getting on Thursday, the Baines List. Can we now create actual teams? Common occurrences are extravagant masks, hiding their faces while signaling their identities amongst their fraternity, as well as the authorities. Adding insult to injury, a subculture of mask making appears to have emerged, customizing them with different colors, patterns, and gang-related symbols. It's almost like they're identifying themselves with their masks. At the time of press, the state attorney was unable to provide a commentary on the leaked document and what they imply for the immediate future of the law enforcement. S.A. Milgram declined that he would say declined and would only say that the attorney's office is reluctant to offer any statement at this time, after the metro area police chief called the results a disgrace and embarrassment to every member of the police force. We expect every member of this department to hold themselves to the highest of professional standards, he said in a statement. Our colleagues and our community deserve nothing less. And that is day one's article. A pretty lengthy video with a lot of explanation to be done, but do not push needles into a wall. On Wednesday we're going to get this awesome looking video, it seems, and of course Thursday is where our update comes. We've got from here to here. What could that possibly mean? Let's not have a look at the adverts at the bottom of the page. Let's instead end the video here. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you have enjoyed and have learned. I know these are quite lengthy and sort of go into great detail, but if you guys are sort of interested in any of that, I don't know whether to call it Payday lore, but at least the story behind it is much richer than a lot of you may imagine, and that is why I read this stuff out for those of you who want to enjoy it. Thanks a lot, guys. I will see you all in the next one.